Farmers in Uganda have been advised to shift away from subsistence farming and opt for commercial farming. This is if Uganda is to exploit the agriculture sector, which remains Uganda's only stable hope of eradicating household poverty. Uganda's economy remains agriculture-based, with 75% of the people depending largely on agriculture. Farming contributes 85% of export earnings and also accounts for 29% of Uganda's gross domestic product. Though the overall poverty rate in Uganda has fallen in recent years, farmers who are practicing subsistence farming remain chronically poor, reflecting the weak state of the agriculture sector. According to UN reports, Uganda remains one of the world's 50 poorest countries based on indices like per capita income, health and nutrition, life expectancy, and critically volumes of agricultural production and export.
Up to when we harvest, up to the dry season. Let's too say. Let us say this is not in Iran.
In spite the government of Uganda's commitment to raise agriculture's share of the national budget, investment in agriculture is still low, with most of the farmers still involved in subsistence farming. President Yoweri Museveni says that 68% of the homesteads are in the category of subsistence farming and calls for full commercialization of agriculture to be able to eradicate household poverty.
You still find farmers still using inferior seeds or breeding stock when the improved ones are there. If you go to Galamba, Galamba is mile 17 from Kampala. That is 9 miles from the Research Institute of Kawanda, where they have got high-grade coffee seedlings. But at Galamba, when I was last there, they were still planting the old coffee types, coffee trees. So the breeding stocks are there. The improved planting materials are there. But those concerned don't inform. All these 7-point-something million homesteads who are in the rural areas, who have land, because there are some also who don't have land. But the ones who have land, to go from subsistence farming to farming for food security, but also for commercial farming. So that's problem number one, the biggest one.
Uganda's main food crops have been plantains, cassava, sweet potatoes, millet, sorghum, corn, beans and groundnuts, and major cash crops have been coffee, cotton, tea and tobacco, although in the 1980s many farmers sold food crops to meet short-term expenses. The production of cotton, tea and tobacco virtually collapsed during the late 1970s and early 1980s. But in recent years, scientists at National Agricultural Research Organization have carried out breeding of Korean vegetable varieties and evaluation of diseases affecting citrus fruit in eastern Uganda and vegetables in a second phase of a project under the Korea Program of International Agriculture, Uganda. During the first phase, scientists from the National Crop Resources Research Institute, NACRI, tested hybrid Korean cabbage varieties, namely Bulam, Jamgim, Kim Kong, Chinyong, and Chono Kale eggplant, sweet pepper, and a hybrid tomato, among others. According to the COPIA director, Dr. Shim Hong Singh, most crop varieties are adapting positively to the prevailing weather conditions in Uganda.
We have tested on our farms have already adapted in Uganda weather. Crops like tomato, eggplant, kale, cabbages were tested at Nakri and Bujadi and Nar site. The performances for these crops were equally cheerful. For example, tomato varieties include 1010, Superdoterang, Pink Top, Bethany, Jujuking, and eggplant varieties like most crop species that we have tested on our farms have already adapted in Uganda weather. Crops like tomatoes, eggplant, kale, cabbages were tested at Nakri, Bujadi, and Nar sites. The performance for these crops were equally cheerful. For example, tomato varieties include 1010, Superdoterang, Pink Top, Betanin, Jujiking, and cabbage varieties like Chuno, Bram, and eggplant include Hungmajanggaje and Mikuni varieties. And cucumber varieties include Gangpung Samchok, Gangho Bekchim Dadagi, and Shimbinakap.
Like many other countries in Uganda, COPIA funds projects that suit farmers' needs, hence the focus on breeding vegetable varieties and management of citrus diseases. Dr. Shim adds that farmers have responded positively to the new crop varieties, and this has been proven successful in the district of Soroti, where farmers are actively involved in citrus growing.